Okay, what's up, guys? Hello and happy Friday. Blake, and we're back with another awesome artist interview. I'm very excited to talk to Matthew Burke tonight. Matthew, welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
Awesome. I love that you are in your wood shop too. That's amazing.
I was debating if I'm going to the office or actually coming down here, and I thought this was going to be a little bit more authentic.
That is perfect. That's perfect. So I'm super excited, guys, to chat. I'm going to give you guys a quick teaser. This is the first work that Matthew sent me at the very beginning of this project. This gorgeous, I believe this is walnut, right?
Yep.
So Matthew does some amazing woodwork. Not only just, the card stuff is amazing too, but also all of the work that you do with like some of the remodel stuff. I was just like going through your site, watching the time lapse and stuff. It's just fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. So I have like 90 seconds of kind of house clean, just other tasks. I have a Jeter auto that I just launched. I just want to like tell people the password basically and show them these real quick.
Absolutely.
And then we're gonna get into it. And then if people, Eric or Tess or Matt, other Matt, if you guys are watching, as the stream goes on, if people are asking about the password because they came in late, then you can tell them. So here's the deal. It is it's on blake.art. I'll show you guys just the different levels. We have the gold. Obviously, there's just one of those. There is white, which we did 2 of, 5 silver, 25 blue, which really pop, and 50 red. So those are all the Jeters. They're just on my website, blake.art. It's password protected right now. The password is Friday. Lowercase f, just all lowercase, Friday. That's the password for the Jeters. And I will do my best throughout the stream just to like say it real quick, just to if anybody comes in late. But that's the deal. Jeters are live, and I'm going to keep it password protected probably until Monday. So you guys have free range on that. We're going to send out an email blast tomorrow also with the password. And then on Monday, I'll probably take the password off and make it public. So that's that. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Matthew, for bearing with me.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, I'm stoked to talk. I think that when you sent me this card was like in May.
Yeah, just about.
Like right at the beginning of the project, because my first card came out at the end of April. And then I think we connected on Twitter first and sent this beauty over, and it's awesome. I have more of your work too. I don't know if I should show them all now or if I should like tease them out.
And it's evolved a little bit since that one too. I mean, that was kind of like the first go around, and then it just became different.
Yeah, I will actually show a couple more of these real quick. Okay, so this is the Mark McGuire. Is this? Oh, here we go. Sorry, guys. Just pulling this fresh out of the plastic. So is this also walnut?
Yep, that's walnut too. Walnut's a wood that I like to work with a lot. It's an easy wood to work with. Looks beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks awesome.
Those were fun to make. They just were for a thinner card. It didn't work that way because it's actually like encapsulated around that card, and because it's so thick, you can make a frame.
Yeah. So you were like, I don't know what the right woodworking term is. I'm probably gonna butcher it, but like you cut a groove, right?
Yep.
That fits kind of around the card.
Yep.
Perfectly, which is awesome. It's also fun on this card because it like is wood grain, like had the wood grain border already. And then this, and I think like I was just showing Sam this card that I think is really impressive because like on this one, I love how it's like notched to go around the K, and then the round borders at the bottom and everything. It's just
it's difficult but fun. I mean that kind of it's tedious, and sometimes you mess up, you start over, but it's fun. I've actually got one that I'm working on now that has that same look, and it was the same style, and you can kind of see how it's. I mean, this is how it kind of starts out, where you've got the 2 curves.
Yeah.
But then once it's laid on top of the card, then it becomes, you can start to kind of actually see it lay out.
Oh yeah.
And then I'll get starting to cut the corners at a later time there.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then this other one too that you just sent recently,
Yeah.
which is in the jumbo sleeve, but we'll take this out and just show them like
those tiny hinges.
Yeah. So, and it's like, I mean, it's so clean, like everything about it, it's really cool, man. Beautiful.
Yeah, that was fun to make, and it was something I was thinking of how to do a booklet, and right. I couldn't come up with fabric or anything that would stay or keep or wouldn't cover the card up because I don't want to cover too much of the card when I do that.
Right.
So I found the world's smallest hinges to use to make the booklet.
That's amazing. I love it, man.
I think those hinges are made for actual like jewelry, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. That's awesome, man. Sweet. Well, all right, let's dive into it. So, man, there's a lot I want to talk about. Let's talk about cards first. Mm-hmm. What is like your history with cards? Because obviously, like, you're super talented, the woodworking stuff, but a lot of people that might be good at woodworking wouldn't just go and like make cards. I assume you are a collector and have been for some time.
Yeah, to a degree. I mean, I think like a lot of people during this shutdown, it was something I did back when I was a kid. You know, me and a buddy, that's all we did. We just collected cards, you know, growing up. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, like most people, I'm 39 and, you know, around the, I don't know, mid 90s, just kind of fell out of it, got older, got away from it. Always had the boxes of cards down in my parents' house. And at some point they brought them all to me to get them out of their house. And then they sat in the basement of my house. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, the shutdown happened and you can only do so much for so long. You start going through boxes and it was like, oh, cool, some cards, and just going through them and bringing back memories. And then I can't remember how exactly I got onto the Project 2020 or even kind of back into this card game. But once I did, it was fun and it brought back a lot of memories. And I think that's kind of why a lot of people have gotten back into this hobby during this time. You know, it kind of takes you back. I think it takes you back to that simpler time where, you know, you see a card from the 80s or 90s and you're like, you can almost feel like where you were when you had that card or saw that card for the first time.
Totally.
And yeah, so I've started collecting again with past, you know, a little before the shutdown, probably like late last year. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I certainly not doing it to put a kid through college or anything like that. It's just fun stuff now. And even got my wife into it a little bit, breaking open cards.
Nice.
She doesn't maybe know all the players, but she has I think a fun time opening the cards, and she's actually pulled better cards than I have, which isn't fair, but happens.
Yeah, life's not fair.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And as far as like the carpentry stuff or remodel or like I don't really like general contractor, I'm not sure like what.
Yeah, so we
general term is.
It's kind of everything. So I mean, you know, if we say what we're doing, my wife and I have a home remodeling company. So it's just about anything. You know, we're a Class A contractor, so we can basically just do basically anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I used to do woodworking when I was a teenager, just for fun. And then right out of high school, started working with a guy in a remodeling company. And I worked with him for almost 14 and a half years. Then got a little bit more in the design aspect, behind the desk kind of work. And then my wife and I decided to open up our own company. And yeah, it's fun. You don't ever get too complacent. You're always doing something different, which is good and bad.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you guys are in Virginia?
Yeah, Northern Virginia. So we're probably about 45 minutes outside of DC, kind of right on the border of Virginia and Maryland.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. And it looks like, I mean, from some of the videos, like you guys have like crews. Yeah. Like
yes, we have one crew of guys. We like to keep things a little tighter knit, a little smaller. You know, we've worked for bigger companies and kind of seen how you can kind of lose the personality behind everything if you get too big. I think quality definitely goes down when you've got just too many people and too many jobs going at one time. So we keep maybe a job, you know, one or two jobs going at the same time. And our ultimate goal right now, I think, would be to actually end up building houses from the ground up.
That's exciting.
Cool. It's daunting to think of sometimes, but I think we're still a little ways away from that. But it's an ultimate goal for us.
Yeah, Yeah, man, that'd be so cool to like live in a house that you literally built would be
Yeah.
a dream.
Yeah. I mean, remodeling, we go into these, people's houses and build these really fun and nice things, and then we have to walk out of them. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, we've done a couple for some friends, which is kind of cool to be able to go back into a job that we've done and enjoy it, and actually not just do some really fun bathroom or kitchen and then just never see it again.
Yeah, yeah, of course. How is it like working, like being, I assume, business partners with your wife?
It's
Uh,
terrible.
is
It's
that
awful.
like, did I assume you guys met beforehand and then started that together after?
Yeah, so we'd known each other in high school. We went to the same high school together.
Cool.
She didn't like me. She'll probably kill me for. She's watching. She'll probably kill me for saying that, but she didn't like me.
Yeah.
We went through college and just kind of hooked back up afterwards.
Mhm.
I don't think she liked me after that either, but eventually she came around, which is great.
And was that also like, are you born and raised in Virginia?
So I was born in Middle Ohio, so right outside of Columbus, and she was born in New York. And we
Nice.
both came here kind of younger age. So I'd say we've grown up in New York, in Virginia, and kind of always been around this area in Northern Virginia. So I mean, I've been here since I think '85. So yeah, I've been here since about 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So know the area, love the area. We moved out into the area we're at now about 7 years ago, and it's a neighborhood. It's a regular, neighborhood, but it's out in the country. But it's a very some people wouldn't like it, I think. But it's nice, it's quiet, but we're 15 minutes from a nice sized town, and like I said, we're only probably about 45 minutes from DC if there's a reason for anybody to ever go there, which there shouldn't be.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so where you are in the house right now, I mean, it looks like, is this a garage workshop, basement workshop?
Basement. Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
So our basement, we've got a rec room that's finished off on that side.
Mhm.
And then we had one area that was, when we had the house built, just left it unfinished so that we kind of knew there'd be a workshop of some sort down here. There's my wife. But yeah, we left it kind of unfinished, knowing there'd be a shop of some sort down here. And over the course of the years, just kind of built it up. Was kind of just doing more hobby stuff and having fun with it. And then probably about 5-6 years ago, kind of started doing bigger projects. And then when my wife and I both quit the job that we were working at before with another remodeling company, we took on a couple jobs that kind of were workshop related, and then slowly moved more into the remodeling aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a fully functioning wood shop and makes a lot of noise, and it's fun.
I love it, man. So I would love, and I don't know how mobile your camera situation is. You're welcome to give us a tour of that, but I would also just be really curious, like walk us through the process of making like the frames.
That's kind of all done from where I'm sitting.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I'll rip some of the wood up from on my. Let's see if I can do this. There's the table saw, right?
Okay. Yep. Yep. Yeah. It's always backwards. It's weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weirder than mine. But yeah, I mean, what it does is basically rip it down to a real thin piece of wood.
Okay.
And then from this point, everything is just done by hand. It's all. I mean, I'm using probably the same type of X-Acto knife that
Mm-hmm.
you use to cut out stencils,
Mm-hmm.
and then a real fun thin cut blade that I can cut nice thin lines with.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the cutting aspect of it. I've got little hand files,
Wow.
to cut those kind of intricate circles and things.
So you're cutting you can cut a wood with an X-Acto blade?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
soft enough?
Yeah. So that walnut is super soft, so I can cut that pretty easily. But when I use oak, it's a little harder, but I cut this oak at about 1/16 of an inch thin. So a couple passes on it. I go through blades pretty quick, but it's not too bad. And then after everything, that all gets sanded back anyway. So it's not the final cut or anything like that.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in the shop here, I mean, there's my cutting station that I just moved and I froze. I had to try to move it. I try to move it. Can you hear me still?
I can still hear you. Yeah. You're frozen, but you sound great.
Exit full screen. Let's see. Let me pop this.
What's up, Eric? Oh, it looks like Eric might have gotten a new avatar.
Let's see.
Pop in and say what's up to some of these people. Oh, there you go. Now you're back. What's up, Jason, Donna, Brian?
Back there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to move the camera anymore.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I shouldn't have encouraged that. Yes, I see the chop saw. I've got a similar DeWalt.
There's a air dust collector right there, which has saved my life. That thing. Yeah, I mean, when I used to just sand and everything, it kicked up so much dust in here. I remember my father-in-law tried to come in here one time. He couldn't even breathe, basically, and I'd gotten just so used to it.
Right.
So, yeah, that thing, if anybody's ever wanted to get into woodworking and you have a little shop, get one of those.
Yeah.
And then back there is this it's a thing called a jointer, which can take any edge and make it kind of nice and flat and straight and square it off to another piece. And
nice.
It's it gets me. It's the tools that I need are in here and can work with what I've got.
Yeah, that's awesome. How has this year specifically, like with COVID, how has that affected the remodel business? Or
it has. It's we last year we started September of 2018 was when we kind of kicked off on our own. And first year, I mean, we had a good kind of supply of clients just because of what I've done in the past and people that have just known what I've done.
Right.
And friends, a lot of friends came out and wanted stuff done. And our first year was great. And then, going into COVID, we were finishing up a pretty large scale addition right when the shutdown happened. We were probably about 98% done with this addition. And we were in a position when everything kind of hit that we could say, we're just not going to work. We didn't want to test anything. We didn't want our guys to get sick. We didn't want to bring something to a client. So we just shut down and was able to kind of get through it. And so it's kind of slowed us up, but we've definitely seen an uptick as things have kind of started back of projects coming in. And again, since we don't try to get, just every single job we look at, it's kind of easier on us to kind of keep our schedule how we want it. And so far it's been okay. I mean, it was a little dicey in the beginning because you really didn't know how things would go. And remodeling, it's not a necessity a lot of times. It's just something you want. So we knew that people were going to be, held off a little bit to go spend a lot of money on a big job.
Right.
But we're doing okay. And so far we're still having fun. I think my wife would say the same.
Yeah. Awesome. Krista has a great question. I'll throw it up here. She's asking if you took tech ed or shop classes in high school, and when did you know that you wanted to do this for a living?
No. So the only class I took like that was actually like home economics, like cooking, just stuff like that. I never took any wood shop classes in middle school or high school. Knowing when I wanted to do this, it was probably early on. It was probably early in high school. I always made like little boxes, things like that for friends, which I look back now and they're just terrible. But they were fun to make.
And they were awesome at the time.
Yeah, exactly. I thought they were amazing too, but looking back, they're just terrible. Not a square edge in sight. But one of the first things I sold was a little over the bed like storage unit for one of my sister's friends in her college dorm. And that was kind of the first thing I ever took in money. And that was kind of, at that I was probably about 14 maybe at that time.
Wow.
And that was, to sell something like that, it was kind of cool.
That's really cool.
And then out of high school, that summer after graduating, when you're supposed to be kind of figuring stuff out, I didn't do anything. I just putzed around, didn't really do much. And at the end of the summer, my mom was working at a place and a guy literally came in and said, does anybody have anybody that wants to do any sort of construction work? And I think my mom just wanted me to get a job. So she was like, my son. And so I met with the guy and 14 years, I worked for the guy for almost 14 and a half years.
Wow. So Alicia, am I saying that right?
Yeah, Alicia. Yep.
Alicia. Yeah. She wants to. We want to see the spoon. Yeah.
So carving spoons was also fun. That when I do projects down here, a lot of times if I had a bigger project, I'd keep something smaller off to the side that was just kind of for me, kind of keep your mind just off it.
Yeah.
So I carved spoons, and this one is what we call insanity or chaos. and it's over 940 pieces of wood
That's
that are
insane.
then all carved and put together.
Wow.
And I've counted.
It,
I think it's
I mean, it looks like snakeskin.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
I have. Hold on, I'm gonna go grab it real quick. I'll be right back. Because I have a spoon that you sent me too. I had
yep.
yeah. So this is like hanging up on my wall. I have a part of my studio. There's all art that other artists have sent me, and this was up there. And until you mentioned the spoon, then I'm like, oh yeah. I also because I pulled out all the cards that that Matt and I have. But look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a bunch of pieces of wood too.
Yeah. So yeah, basically you take them, you cut them thin, you glue them together, you cut it again, glue them back together in a different pattern, and then just squish them all together in a block basically, and carve the shape, and then start carving out the bowl.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was fun.
So that's like a stress relief or like a passion project on the side. You know, you got your like me. I'll have my commission, and then I'll have my thing that I'm working on for fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
Painting wise.
Even though it is called the Insanity Spoon, and it was, I mean, if I sold that spoon, I have to sell it for like $1,000. The time that I put into that spoon.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also, I mean, it's priceless. Like,
yeah.
I bet even if you sold it for $1,000, you'd be like a little bit bummed that it's gone. Right.
You know, it's one of those things you look at every once in a while and you just go, yeah, all right, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love that. Let's see here. Just try and catch up on comments. Yeah, Spoon Man. Yeah, people really like Heavy J. What's going on?
I gotta say hello to Heavy J.
Yeah. So speaking of Heavy J, and this is relevant to you, is so Heavy J will have some card art launching on cardart.com very soon, later this month. And it sounds like you and Tony have been chatting, and I think you'll be up next.
I think so. I'm trying to get the supply together there.
That's awesome, man. I love it. Yeah, so that'll be, I mean, it's ridiculous. And I feel like, I mean, so one of the things that we do with card art is like we'll let people send us in, like they can mail in cards. I was working on one trout card today for Art Middlemiss. Shout out Art if you're on the stream. But people can send in stuff. I feel like your type of work would be really conducive to that. Do you do that? Like, do people send you cards to say, hey, like frame? Because like you couldn't mail someone a frame to put on this card. Like you got to install it basically and build it around the card. Yeah.
So that's the kind of trick. The thing is with some of the cards, and I was talking to Tony about that, is the ability to kind of do some sort of frame around it without covering up either important information, name, whatever. But also if there's a certain like design around the card, it's sometimes almost impossible to follow. So there is a certain kind of card that I'm looking for when I do that. And that's why I kind of started with the old Topps cards. They all had these nice straight edges. You know, the wood frame cards, those were really easy to kind of follow. So yeah, it is something I would definitely do is if someone wanted a card specifically. Thank you, Jason.
I'm always like, I'm a huge advocate for artists raising their prices. Yep. So I would tend to agree with Heavy J on that.
Well, and I followed Heavy J's kind of you know, the way he did it, and that was kind of the beginning of me putting cards out there that I was doing. Is one, I started with the, you know, making the sparkle cards and using kind of different tapes and all this, and I just couldn't ever, I wasn't ever very happy with how it looked. And then I did a couple wood ones, but I didn't know how to sell it, so I literally just went on Twitter and said, hey, you know, if anybody want this, you know, just like Jason does, like, hey, make a donation. We're very into the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So I said, hey, you make a donation, I'll give you this card. And it worked pretty well. I mean, it was fun to see people wanting these cards and then making the donation. That was the biggest kick for me. And then I got a couple people that, you know, wanted to commission work. So the commission is where I said, okay, like I might have to go find that card or I might have to buy it. So then that's where I'd put a price on it. Yeah. And that was fun too. But again, it kind of all goes back to Heavy J. I mean, if there's anybody that started this for me, it's got to be Heavy J. I mean, he's the man. I mean,
he's the man.
Yeah,
absolutely. This is a good question from Octavio. Have you made any Project 2020 displays, or if you haven't, are you planning on it?
Definitely planning on it. Yeah. So one thing, and I'm sure you're the exact same, is your first design will never be the best in your mind. You always see it, start it, and then you back off and go, okay, now I got to make this better. So I've gone back and forth of how I want to display. It's probably going to be more of like the floating shelf kind of look than a framed piece, and then have some sort of routed edge in that so they can stand up by themselves without any stands. After I put them all in the exact same one-touch containers, because I've probably got about 6 different styles of cases. Thank you, Tops. But yeah, so it's not going to be a frame piece that would hang on a wall. It'd be more of like a shelf display. And that way I can also make kind of tiers to it. So if I wanted to do, a card in front of each other and a card behind, it'll be kind of on a stair step.
I like staggered a little, yeah.
Yep. And if I just want to put something else behind them, either just, sign balls or something else like that.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm definitely excited to see that. We're getting near the end of the project where I need to start thinking more aggressively about displays. I've looked at a few different manufacturers. I've talked to a couple people that custom make them. I want to do something with my cards where I make some type of display for them that then I also splatter paint on and have like kind of a custom display.
Yep.
Which it'll be realistically like a very limited thing, but a lot of people I think are excited to see it. So it'll be.
Oh yeah, and especially the guys, a lot of us out there that are only buying you or F dot, anybody. If you're you're only buying a certain player for Project 2020, or you're only buying an artist. And I mean, for me, I think as you guys for the artist, that there'd be a killing to make in making your own displays, because there's going to be people with 20-year cards and they would love that special case that was made by you.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's been such a crazy year, and I keep thinking there's a lot of things, like cases are one of them. Relic cards, which I've been talking about doing forever, and we've been really close to getting them done forever, and really at this point it's just waiting on me to do a tiny bit more design work. Companion cards, which I think if I do, it'll definitely be after the set is over, but I don't know how far after. So there's all these things that earlier in the project, it just seems like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. Oh yeah, I'm going to do that. And
plenty of time, huh?
Yeah. Here we are with, what is it? 6 weeks, 7 weeks, maybe left in the project. And, I haven't done a lot of some of those things. So I kind of have to prioritize, but I do think that some type of custom display would be really, really cool to do. And I would be very excited to see whatever you come up with.
Yeah. And then, again, I'd have to kind of steal the splatter art. There's got to be some sort of splatter on it. And very early on, I took a bunch of spray paint cans that I had laying around and just did it. And for one, I made a mess of myself for one. And then out of 100 cards, maybe 2 came out kind of cool. And it was fun. I mean, it's a great way of doing it. But on a display case, to have at least some aspect on it of having some splatter area would be, the people that know what you do would be like, that's Blake. That's Blake.
Right. Yeah, speaking of splattering, we made, I don't know if hopefully my camera will, let's see. We'll go this way. We made another giant mess today, but it was awesome. I don't know if you saw the stream last Friday where I had that bucket that I drilled a bunch of holes in. We were spinning it and swinging it. Andy is here. He's over there. I think he has headphones on. I don't think he can hear us, but he's there. So I wanted to show him because he wasn't in that night, and so we did a couple bucket swings and made a giant mess. I'm just completely covered in paint, which is par for the course. Awesome.
I saw the other night when you guys were doing, I was asking about the bucket divider, because then my brain went to, okay, if you have a divider, how many different columns can you have? Can you do 20 different colors and 20 different divider, and have the bucket go? And that's where my brain went of how to make the bucket.
Yeah, I'll grab a bucket real quick. Oh man, they have paint in the bottom, so I guess if I hold them up, it's going to be problematic. So yeah, basically, No, I would just make a mess if I try and show it.
Yeah.
Try and like tilt it the way that I want to tilt it. So it's just, I used a 2.5 gallon bucket and then a 4 gallon bucket, which is like a weird ass size, but
yeah,
it was just one that I found. Drilled holes kind of around the bottom at increments, and then all of the dividers I made with the foam board, which is what I'm actually painting I just have a bunch of foam board that I'm using to paint my Topps cards on. And so I just cut them out and put them in, and I put like caulking basically on the seams and put them in, and then it still really wasn't like that sealed that well. So then I was kind of caulking the seams, and then I used the bucket last Friday, and then the paint like kind of drips down and goes underneath the seams too, and like fills all the tiny holes. So I feel like actually every time I'm using this bucket, it's actually getting better and like more sealed. The first time, like the paints like very quickly were starting to go underneath and kind of mix with each other. And anyways.
No, it's cool. I said on the stream the other night, I was like, does everybody else want to do this like right now? Like I'm looking for buckets. I'm looking for extra paint that I've got laying around, just thinking, all right, I'm going to make a mess, but it'd probably be a pretty cool mess.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. I don't know if you follow the artist that I was kind of emulating when I did it, this guy, Callan Schaub.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Canadian artist who's just phenomenal, like performance artist. He'll go and set up at different events and do stuff like this. And he has all types of different contraptions. The bucket, which he calls the chalice, I think he calls it the chalice of chaos, is like one of his things that is like my favorite thing that he does. But he does these other like kind of swings that's like, I don't know,
I think I've seen his stuff. He's done like large scale stuff too, like real large. Yeah,
exactly. He does he does some really, really big works and some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've been a fan of his for a long time too. And I just finally, I'm moving out of the space soon. We have this, like, it's up there, and it is our sprinkler system, but it's also like, I'm right on an anchor point.
Okay.
So we just, we have vaulted ceilings, this solid anchor point right in the middle. We have this floor that we've already painted, like the floor is so messy anyways. And so I just figured it was like, might as well do it while I'm still here in this space. So
you just paint over the floor when you move out? I mean, I've always thought about that, seeing all the stuff you get on the floor, all the splatter, just paint over and go.
Yeah, we're going to paint over it, but it's like, it's sad because it looks really cool right now. Yeah. And we were thinking about, like, at our next spot that we're moving to in the room Andy and I are moving in together and turning, like, it's a live work loft, and we're going to have both living space and studio space in one unit, which is different than now, and we'll save a ton of money. And so in the room that will be the studio right now, it's like, I think it's like MDF on the floor. But I'm going to basically put down like thick, like probably like 3-4 millimeter plastic sheeting across the whole floor, and then plywood. Hopefully, if I can find like some tongue and groove plywood, and have that all so that like I don't have to screw the floor down. It just kind of almost snaps together, and then we'll just paint and do what we do here. And then every so often we can just say, okay, we'll replace the floor and just pull the boards up and then not have to worry about that. So it'll be awesome. It's going to be some setup kind of thing that I wish you were local in New York. You could probably help optimize that space, because I also have ideas of shelving stuff I'd like to build, but
I gotta admit, I don't know how working in New York though. I don't know if my patience would be good enough to work in New York. Yeah. Just the aspect of parking a truck, I'm sure is a pain.
Totally would be a pain.
Yeah.
We also were looking before that. We were looking at potentially moving to Vegas. Parking would be a lot easier. Real estate's cheaper. That would also be a fun place. I mean, one of these days, if I get a place on the West Coast, might have to get you and your wife to come out and help with the project.
We'll be there. We'll be there. As long as we can park a car and walk up the stairs, we'll be fine.
I love it. That's awesome. It's awesome, man. So let's talk about baseball cards a little more. Who do you collect? What's your favorite card ever? What's your best pull? Do you got like anything like that?
No, it's not my best pull. That's the thing that stinks. It's my wife's.
No problem. What's Alicia's best pull?
So she pulled like an Alvarez autograph rookie card, and then a 1-of-1 Ryan Mountcastle from I forget what it was. It's whether it's a black 1 of 1 card, and I pulled nothing. I mean, I pulled nothing.
Yeah.
She's like, I think the Alvarez autograph too. She's kind of blew by it, and I was like, well, hold on, let's get that card out. But yeah, I mean, I'm a Yankee fan, so Yankees favorite player Mattingly. So my best card, not worth the most, but my favorite card is a Mattingly rookie I have that I've had since I was probably about 11 or 12. That buddy of mine who I collected cards with, that was my card. He had the King Griffey Jr. rookie card, so that was like our 2 cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun now because, again, like I said, there's the whole, guys that are doing it to invest in cards and hoping that they've got the next Mike Trout rookie. And then there's a lot of us who are just having fun with it. And, I've looked at it sometimes that the people that aren't doing it to invest, they use baseball cards almost like currency. It's like, someone online says, oh, I don't have this or I lost this. And the amount of people that step up and just go, I got one, you want it? Just take it. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And I think that's probably where I fit in, where, somebody says, hey, I'm looking for something, or someone has something. It's not like, oh, give me $10 and I'll give it to you. It's
like,
what am I going to do with it? Take it. Like, you have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's for the most part, it's a very like positive and generous group of people.
Yeah.
And especially like on Twitter, where it's just so easy to talk to strangers.
Yep.
Versus some of the other social, I mean, I guess like in Facebook groups you can, but I find Twitter like the easiest to like meet new people and share like common interests and connect over that. Like really, that's how I met Matt Costello on my team. That's how I met Tony. That's how I meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
Eric. I mean, pretty much everybody that's here watching on the stream that's like Team Hot Plate is through Twitter.
Yeah.
Which is really,
you can kind of vet people through Twitter too. You can kind of, you can weed out the people who are begging for a card, and you're like, and you scroll back and they're selling things, and you're like,
sure,
I can feel that you're just trying to get out. But you can see also the people that are, there's the little girl, I think the 9-year-old girl who lost all her cards, and there's somebody that stepped up and gave her like 25,000 cards, and those are the good stories. Those are the
heavy J's.
It's those are the ones that make you feel good.
Mm-hmm. Totally. You just did Donnie Baseball, I think that Tony tweeted a picture of, right?
Yep.
Do you have that one, or does that one get shipped out?
That shipped out, so that he's got that. Yep.
Does Tony have it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yep. Yeah. So that night that I sent the McGuire and the Torres to Matt, I sent that one to Tony there.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It was hard to give away Mattingly.
Yeah, I believe that. Just realized that I had asked you about your best pull ever. I had what I think is my best pull ever, and it was a Pokemon card.
I saw that.
Just the other day, and I was at a bookstore. Sam and I drove up took a long weekend in Vermont. And then on our way back, we stopped at Berkshire Bookstore that was Northshire in Vermont. And where was the cabin? It was in New Hampshire.
That house looked amazing, by the way. You did like the drone shot or something of it, or?
Oh my gosh, it was so sick. So it was on property that was 330 acres, and the whole house was built from wood, like they chopped trees down on the property and built it, and it was built without nail. Like there's no nails. It was all just like pegged. It was literally like it was insane how they had these like giant. I mean, it must have been like, I don't know, like 12-inch by 12-inch, these beams, big beams.
Yeah.
Bigger than ones that are.
Yeah.
And then, and then they literally would just like, they had like just wooden pegs that was like holding together. It was phenomenal.
That's amazing.
And it was also cool. Like there was no electricity. They did have a generator, and like the refrigerator was gas powered, but it was just a really big change of pace to be up there for 4 days and 3 nights. It was awesome. You would have loved it. It was I spent so much of it just like admiring the woodworking on the house. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I went up to a place in Minnesota a couple of years ago, and this owner of this cabinet company's house, and he's got this big log house and huge, like 2-story foyers, and everyone's mingling and talking. I'm just staring around. I just can't stop looking at the woodwork
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. Yeah, you just see all the hard work when you see something like that.
Yeah. That's
But I
awesome.
saw that the Pokemon card was worth a
Oh yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
decent amount.
So on the way back, we stopped at this bookstore, which was a super tight bookstore, and we had a really good time and spent a good amount of money. But they had a ton of Pokemon cards, and so I had posted a picture of all the packs and boxes because I don't really know Pokemon at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, what should I buy? And everyone's like, oh, buy the it was like this Elite Trainers box, Champions Path. So I bought 2 of them, which was the only 2 they had in stock. And then I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, Matt and I were ripping them. We ripped the whole first box, and like there was nothing, I don't think, of any consequence. And then I just start opening the second one. I'm like on hold with Verizon. By the way, I hate Verizon.
Same.
Yeah, I was like on hold with them and just like opening packs, and then I know Charizard, and also I had told people like, what am I looking for, and they had posted.
Yeah.
And so pulled this out, and it's like probably the most expensive card I've ever pulled out of a pack of cards, which is pretty awesome.
I saw the comments and I was like, woo.
Yeah, I know, no kidding. By the way, I want to give a shout out. Matthew Lee Rosen is in the building. What's up, man?
Excellent.
Fellow artist. We have a collab coming up in the works. It'll be launched.
Excellent.
So everyone stay tuned for that. Let's see here. What else we got? Heavy J says we got more Matthews than Jasons in here. Yeah, we do have a lot of Matthews in the building right now.
I feel like the in a minority most nights where there's about 3 or 4 Jasons in the room, and
yeah, this is a great question from another fellow Matthew.
It's an easy. I mean, it's Frank Lloyd Wright. I mean, and it's leaps and bounds Frank Lloyd. I mean, I've been to his Falling Waters house. It's just his stuff it's timeless. To know how old his stuff is and how old his work was, but to still see those houses standing and just to see that there's still beauty in those houses. I just if I could get, I think his office was in Chicago, I think, and there's I'd love to get to more of his houses and more of the stuff that he worked on. That Falling Waters house, I mean, it's literally built over a stream, and there's a spot where you can walk down a staircase and you're just standing basically on top of the stream, and that's just amazing to me.
Yeah. Wasn't there a Frank Lloyd Wright property that went on sale like, I want to say maybe a year, between 1 and 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And
they pop up every once in a while.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was somewhere in the Midwest, and it was like not expensive, like all things considered.
I think it might be like Arizona somewhere or something like that.
Could be.
But yeah, I mean, and usually those places come with like the furniture that was built for the house, and there's kind of, I think, contracts wrote up to say you don't touch this house. Like you might buy this house, but you don't, throw a coat of paint on the outside and put a nice shiny metal roof on top or anything like that. It's kind of like, this is history, and you don't mess with it.
Yeah. There's so I grew up in Marin County, just north of San Francisco, and the Marin County Civic Center was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And I totally, like, as a kid, I just remember like not appreciating it at all.
Yep.
And then like at some point, I think it was maybe when I was in college and coming home, or even after that, where I went back there one time, because it's also where if you have jury duty, you have to like go there to like report and see if you're going to get jury duty. And I like went in there, and it was like just blown away. It's just amazing. Yeah. It's just an incredible building. And
again, it's not stuff that was done, 10, 20 years ago. And it's still to be able to look at it and just say, it's beautiful. It's, there's a chemistry in the building that he makes where everything just goes together. And it's just, yeah. Yeah.
It's awesome, man. Oh yeah. My mom also said, Blake, the Marin County Civic Center is like, yes. Got you, Mom. Yeah, I mean that building is just, it's so cool, and I just like spending so much of my life just like driving by it or being a ride passenger and not appreciating it. Oh, nice. Matthew Lee Rosen, who's also in Chicago. So he's been to a lot of buildings.
That's amazing.
Well,
okay. Nationals in Chicago, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was
going
to be in Atlantic City this year, and then that got pushed. So I think next is in Chicago. So we're going to be. I'm definitely going for sure.
Yeah.
Krista has a good question. What's your favorite brand of tool?
I'd say DeWalt is the easiest to get. It's certainly not like the highest of the line. It's right. A great tool for a homeowner and a DIY kind of person. And then the tool that's back there, the jointer is called Jet, and Jets that's kind of gets out of your like Home Depots and your Lowe's. It kind of gets into more of like a woodworking community. Those are almost bulletproof. So yeah, I mean, DeWalt's easiest ones to work with. That saw right there is almost bulletproof. And then this table saw that I got there that's probably about 30 years old, and that's a Delta. So I mean, it's kind of like anything else. Those as long as you keep them up, they will take a beating, and you just keep replacing parts, and it keeps working. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I go mostly DeWalt. I definitely just stick with like the Home Depot, like
and that's probably like the best brand to buy from the Lowe's, Depots, and things like that. And then once you get out of those, the price range shoots up, and that's when you pay it if you're going to be an actual woodworker. You don't want to be paying $3,000 for a table saw if you're just making a cut every month or two.
Sure, of course. Kent had a question. What's the hardest wood frame card you have made? How many different types of wood was used?
The most, it's probably just 3. I think if I got the picture of that card, I don't know if I got a picture that's still on here. I do, and it is one of Kent's was the Ricky Henderson one.
Nice.
But yeah, the Ricky Henderson that I think is actually on the picture of the. There's 3 different types of wood there, and it's walnut, and then cherry, and then this wood called paddock, which I'm sure you can't tell in the camera, but it's like a real red type of wood, which is beautiful. So that's probably the most I can use is probably about 3 on one card. Making these ones with like the other corners. So that's walnut, and then that's Osage orange, which sounds way more exotic than it actually is. But yeah, I mean, I think at some point
there was more of that. If you got a whole stack right there, show it.
I got some back here I grabbed. Yeah. So this is what I was talking about, having some of the newer ones where, it's just hard to follow the lines around that. Where, some of like the detail on the card, I start to lose if I kind of go through it. I don't want to lose the nameplate or anything. And then
is that Stadium Club?
Yeah, the Stadium Club. Their pictures are so beautiful that I want to do more on those cards, just because they've got such great pictures. But a lot of times their detail goes out to the edge of the card, and then I would just be covering stuff up. And then this one is crazy. It's one of the high-tech cards, so it's
and it's clear.
Yeah,
I love those like acetate.
Yeah,
clear.
So then you can. Now you can kind of see the back, but then So the way that everything is adhered onto this card is like a super thin double-sided tape, and the tape actually goes on the wood, and the wood goes on top of the card. You kind of shift it around a little bit, and it's pretty permanent at that point. And then anytime the woods come together, there's basically like a super glue that holds them together, and then just sand everything down.
That's awesome.
And then let's see.
Getting some good high praise from Heavy J, which is awesome.
And then this was one with a fun little funky angle on it.
Yes.
Again, those are fun to follow that. But again, the older cards they were a lot easier to do that. So again, the newer cards are that much design going to the edge. It's kind of difficult, and that's why I said, certain cards I can do it pretty easily, but some of these newer cards with that much design, I'd be taking away too much from the card.
Yeah. Let's see here. What else we got? Grant says purple heartwood is awesome.
Yep.
Nice. What is
if I had any Rockies cards, I'd do that. I mean, it's literally like a purplish kind of looking wood. Yeah.
Yeah. What is this? Have you done any 1955 Bowman baseball?
No, so I haven't done that. I've done some of the reprints of like the T206 cards.
Yes, I
That
love
one,
that.
and then one that was commissioned that I need to get out was the T205.
Oh,
So this had like a gold border, and that's walnut around it. And then I had to make the one touch because they didn't have a 75-point one touch that had the smaller card for it. So these
right.
are corners from a one touch that I cut out,
Nice.
included in there.
That's
So
clever. That's
it works.
super smart.
It works. And then this is just one of my favorite cards laying around. I just,
Thanks, man. Yeah, I like that one.
I have to admit,
Yeah, go.
and I got you on camera. I have to admit, when I first saw this, I didn't like it.
That's okay.
I looked at it and I said, you can't do that to the card. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more I looked at it, and then going on your stream, listen to how you came through it and doing the process, it was like, yeah, of course, it's a beautiful card now.
Yeah.
But that first look,
I'm really glad that card was so early in the set, because I feel like that a lot of people have told me that was the first card that they got.
Yeah.
Or the first card of mine that they got. But yeah, I think I'm super happy with that card. I think it's aged really well.
Yep.
And even people like yourself, there were a lot of people, Twitter can be polarizing, and people are like, this is horrible. And I'm like, that's okay. Like, it is what it is. And like, I feel like a lot of those people have come around, and that's cool. And if they haven't, that's also fine too.
It's art, right? I mean, it's, some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it.
Yeah. This is a good idea from Matthew Lee Rosen. He said, if you consider a different approach, intentionally covering details to make more than just the frame around the edges.
So that's kind of what, and going back to the card that the Glaber Torres card, this one. So when I actually do the frame, I cover up the outfield spot to create those edges. So some cards, I will actually cover over certain aspects. The old 87 Topps cards, where I cover over tops because it'd be too hard to kind of keep around it, and it's the way it's designed. It's better just to cover that over, and then just kind of create my own detail to it. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to. It's kind of hard to keep the details of the card so it still looks like the same card, but also kind of give it your own something. And that's the last thing I want to do is ruin the card on all aspects. So obviously what I'm doing is, modifying the card, but I still want it to look like a card that you could, if you saw it just from afar, you think that's just a card, and then you get up close to it and it's like, oh no, that's real wood.
So this is, have you made like a bat out of wood on a card, or is that too difficult to cut precisely? So that could be kind of cool if like you're making the bat that someone's holding on the card, like out of wood on top of it.
Yeah, so I did that with the Bo Jackson. Okay. So I think that was on the picture for the live stream, the thing went on Twitter. I think it was in the background. Yeah, I think you can kind of see the background. So that Bo Jackson.
Yes.
So that was the sliver of wood there. That's his bat in the picture. I'd actually had a bat just laying in my shop, just laying around, and I took a little sliver off of that and then recut it into the shape of the bat.
Nice.
And then found out that I think the bat came from a guy that played for like a minor league affiliate of the Royals. So
amazing.
Kind of all tied it back in together.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah,
I love that. What projects, and it could be baseball, like card related or otherwise, like what projects are you working on now, or are you excited to have coming up?
Well, card wise, it's just kind of getting more into it. At the beginning it was just kind of finding cards I had laying around, and now I'm kind of searching more out to actually, buy them and to put my kind of frame to it. Where it's kind of grown, where again I was just pulling cards that I had in a box and just kind of dealt with it. Now I'm kind of actually searching out certain cards and trying to find out which ones would have, or I think would look good to have the frame put on them. So yeah, those are always, it's always fun. Those are always that small project that I have keep going. for our remodeling stuff, we've always got stuff out there. We've always got projects that we've got. We try to, push ourselves. I think we don't want to ever just become, doing one thing over and over again. So, but every project we do, we have fun with it. Small project, large project. The couple of the ones we've had lately have been smaller projects, and they're just as fun for us. All jobs can have their moments, but when they're all done and you can step back and look at something you've created, that's I think part of this industry and it's part of the industry that gets overlooked, because I think people get so far into jobs or something where you don't ever get to see that finished product, and you just kind of do the job, move on. And that's still the fun part, to be able to kind of step back, take a look at a project that you've designed, built, everything, and really appreciate it.
It's awesome, man.
So we're always looking for the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to looking for the next cards, if there are specific cards that you want, you let me know, man. We have such a big collection of cards. Or even if you're like, man, I'm really looking for cards with this type of border or this type of set or whatever, man, if you tell us, I guarantee that we have them. And that's only because so many people are like so generous in this hobby, and they send us cards all the time for card art. And it's like, I mean, I probably have more cards than I could ever look through.
Heavy J, the one night we were talking about cards during the stream, and I said something about, if you guys got any of the old Hot Tops wood frame border cards, and he said, I'll send some to you. And I just thought he had some laying around. He bought some off of eBay, sent me a whole box, and my wife and I are sitting there just blowing through these old packs, open cards, and taking the gum off them that was ruining the cards.
Yeah. The 80, is it the 87?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's an industry full of generous people, and I talked to Tony about a couple cards that you guys have that I think I could definitely do some work on. One, I think you've done some splatter art on, so that'd be a fun one to kind of on top of one of the cards you've done.
I would love that collab.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken Carl in the house too, man. We got a lot of Ant Optimus Volts card killers in here. Matthew Lee Rosen. I mean, we got the whole card art crew, which is amazing.
Ken stuff is amazing. Ken Carl stuff. I mean,
it's phenomenal.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of people that you see, for me mostly just through Twitter, that are making things that you could see easily coming out of packs of cards, from big companies, is just amazing, And then there's part of me that wants to say, I'd hope Topps or somebody would pick guys like that up to do, but then there's part of me I'd say no, stay on your own, keep doing it on your own. And but yeah, there's some amazing artists out there doing amazing things with cards, and I love it. Got Optimus Volts cards sitting on my table right now. Got Heavy J, I got Third Dan Art, they're sitting there. I mean, it's fun because you look at those cards, and I think, like art, it's always going to take you back to that moment where you got the card. No one made me buy that card right then and there when I was having a bad day. It was something that was like, I can't wait to get this card. And it's just like, the Blob Babe Ruth, picture, where it's like, I'm going to remember that because it was a fun time. And every time I look at that, it's going to be, that was fun. I remember getting that, and that's a fun piece. Yeah.
No, I feel the same way, man. It's about the story. And I have I have a Matthew Lee Rosen right here. This is a Conseco. This is not the same collab that we have upcoming, but this is another fun collab that we're working on. I've gotten just grab it real quick. Got Optimus Volts. I mean, these are all just within reach. Optimus Volts here, so sick.
Oh, great.
Ken Carl. Picture of me that
crazy
because I felt like it.
It's awesome.
But it's crazy. All those guys are all hanging out in here with us. Obviously, got wood frame cards. I have a Heavy J2 in that box. Everyone, it's amazing. Yeah.
Like I said, it just brings you back to that point. That's, and again, like I said in the beginning, if that's the whole baseball kind of card world, where again it takes you to that point where you got the card, you found the card. And that's why that Mattingly card that probably will only be worth $50, that's still gonna be like my most prized possession because it takes me back to that point in time.
Of course. I feel that, man. It's all about those stories. I absolutely love it. It's awesome, man. Well, this has been a blast.
Love it.
What's the best way for people to contact you? Twitter, Instagram?
Probably Twitter. Yeah, Twitter's probably the easiest. Instagram, I still do. And my Instagram is Burke's Workshop, which is just what the name was. Twitter is Alloy Stang, just because I used to drive a gray Mustang.
Dude, I was going to ask you about that. I forgot about that. I had what was it? Like old, like vintage or new?
No, it was 2009.
Okay.
V8 glass roof.
Nice. I had a '69 coupe
Oof.
that I was working on restoring in college, and just after, and I mean it was the most fun money pit I've ever had.
I bet.
But yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So Twitter.
Yep.
I love saying. Yeah.
That's it, and then hopefully be on the card art there.
Yeah. No, I mean that sounds. It sounds like Tony was just up today, and we were chatting about it. And it seems like, to me, it makes a ton of sense. And I think it also could be fun to do collabs where, like you said, like if I splatter paint on a card and we send it to you, and then it's like a collab card art thing, that could be really awesome.
Absolutely. So, I'm down for it.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. You and Alicia are killing it. I love your work, both of your work. So
thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
I appreciate it very much.
All right.
I appreciate having me on, man. It's been fun.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you guys all so much. Happy Friday. Have an amazing weekend. Just a reminder, the Jeters just launched. The password is Friday, lowercase f, just Friday if you go to blake.art. But yeah, thank you guys. Have an awesome weekend. I'll see you on Monday, and stay awesome.
See you guys.